I'm David Stevenson, and this is another 21st century disaster tip you won't hear from officials. Now, in an emergency, we've all come to rely on the internet, on our cell phones, and a wide variety of other sophisticated electronic devices in order to be able to communicate and share information. Well, what happens if it's a real disaster and you don't have access to any of those things? Well, you can still communicate throughout your community if you've got some of these cheap $15 a pair FRS radio walkie-talkies. Now, the model for this is the District of Columbia. There's a literary agent in DC named Bill Adler who had a hunch after 9/11 that the walkie-talkies that he and his family had used at Disney World before that might possibly be able to be the backbone of an emergency, very simple but very important community network in a disaster. Bill got together a couple of his friends. They all took their walkie-talkies out one night. They all tuned to the same channel. And sure enough, they were able to bounce that message over a fairly wide range of the District of Columbia. Since then, he turned it into a formal organization, one that's never gotten any federal aid or anything, but totally grassroots, called DCERN, the District of Columbia Emergency Radio Network. One night a month, they go out at 8 o'clock, all tuned to the same channel, and practice relaying those messages. It's so successful, they've actually covered the entire District of Columbia now, and they've hopped over into the Virginia suburbs and the Maryland suburbs, all with these cheap walkie-talkies. So before a disaster, make sure and get a pair of these cheap walkie-talkies. Urge your friends to do the same. Make sure you got a lot of batteries on hand, and when disaster strikes, you'll be able to create your own emergency neighborhood network. That's another 21st century disaster tip you won't hear from officials. I'm David Stevenson. Hi, Bob, it's David. We're texting the emergency network. If you'd please pass this message on to the next person on the relay. Thanks very much. Bye.
Yep. All right. Got you, David. We'll let him know.